So what I thought I'd do on these easy aerobic days is go into some like Kosci specific details. So today I'll just run through like an overview of the course, and then hopefully in the next few videos I can go into detail on certain sections and how like the training that I'm doing is relevant to this. And then I'll also throw in like some of the gear that I train and race with. So whenever you're signing up for a course, I think it's really key to make sure that you do have a look at the website, and then you also have a look at like the elevation profile. Study the course so then you know what you're up against. So climbs, descents, and distance to aid stations are probably 3 key factors. So what I'm going to use today is I've got the website up, but then I also have the GPX file. I've found, so in the Sunto app, you download the file and then it actually comes up with like this really good grade down the bottom. And then you've got your course map up the top. But as you go along on here, it gives you all your percentages, length of climbs, and things like that. So just having a little read through the website, and it says in like the bottom blurb in the description, runners can expect endless, happy, flowy, fun trails, stunning views, and an amazing alpine vibe through their Kosci 50 journey. The perfect 50 kilometre for first-time ultra runners. And I really love what they've said here because I absolutely agree with that. If like you're looking at a 50K where maybe it's your first time doing the distance, this one is a great place to start. I just find it's got like a really good mix of versatile trails and everything's fairly runnable. A lot of it is fairly wide as well, so you don't really get caught out in that technical running aspect. And then you still get a few good climbs and amazing views. So it's run in the snowy mountains, a 6-hour drive from Sydney, and then you get to like the main ski town of Jindabyne. And then there's 2 main ski resorts that run out of there. So you've got Perisher and you've got Thredbo, and you kind of hit both of these along the run. So for the 50K, we start at Perisher in that main car park, and then we do a little out and back to start. So it's 2.5 kilometers to a turnaround point, and then you start heading back, and this is where you start making the journey to Thredbo. At around 7Ks into the race, you start this quite big descent. So this one here, and this descent goes for 10 kilometers. It's not too steep, it is single track, and it's quite steppy. There's a few stone crossings, like little bridges, some like metal walkways as well in there. So really runnable section, but probably super important that you don't gas yourself too hard on this part, just because it's still early in the race. You can definitely pick up some speed, but if you push too hard on this section, I reckon it can bite you in the ass at the back end. At 17.5K, you get to the bottom of the hill and you get to your first aid station, which is at Bullock's Flats. So you kind of run in and around this one. So this is a really good aid station to fill up some flasks, grab some more fuel, especially if you started the race with your pack pretty light, knowing that you did have that big descent. And then from here, we run on a nice trail out to the next checkpoint, which is Nagario Campground. And this section here it's got like a steady ascent the whole time. It looks pretty flat on the map, but it's definitely a challenging part of the race. It's quite exposed too, so it heats up. And I think just initially, like looking at the map, it looks quite easy, but yeah, definitely don't discredit this part. Once you leave Nagario, you keep running, still on a steady ascent up, and you're kind of on your way to Village Green. So this part of the race, very similar to the Bullocks to Nagario part, can still be challenging, and it's just a really good place to making sure that you're focusing on your fuel and your hydration as we come into the kind of last part of the race. Once we get to Village Green, this is at about 36 kilometers, and this is a really cool place for if you do have kind of support crews and things like that, where they can hang out and kind of like G you up. And then from Village Green, so we're almost done, but we do have quite a large climb to go. So this climb, basically from Village Green, and you go all the way up to the peak, which is Eagle's Nest. I break this up because it works in my head a little bit better. So from Village Green, 4Ks, pretty moderate, is single track, but it's kind of like a single track where you don't really pick up a good rhythm. And then the next 5 kilometers is where you're actually climbing up to the top of Eagle's Nest. So it starts off with some steps and it's quite steep. And there's definitely some runnable sections. So you end up doing like a mix of hiking and then running and just honestly willing yourself to get to the top. So yeah, you can see that one just here. So what I've done in the past is I've just written some distances on my hand. And then when I see like 40 Ks on my watch and I'm starting that climb, I can keep an eye on that. I can see how far I'm going and just watching that clock down till I get to 45. And I think it just helps me mentally, like knowing how far that I have to go on the climb so that I am able to keep pushing. And something else that can help too is if you actually download the GPX onto your watch, it'll give you like turn-by-turn navigation, and then generally that will also give you like a distance to the top of a climb. So that's just another good way just to help yourself mentally to be able to keep pushing through when it's hurting. This is such a good feeling once you get to the top at Eagle's Nest, and then you just know that you have a downhill to go. So Eagle's Nest is at 46K, and then your finish is at around 50K. So you know that you've got 4Ks of downhill. But this downhill is tricky. So it's run down a track called Merritt's, and it's like this windy, snaky track with these big wooden steps that just honestly keeps going, and it gives your legs an absolute beating. So in 2023, the 50K actually ended up doing this Merritt's Trail twice. So we only do it once this year. So count your stars, because it can be so tricky, especially if you're not like a great technical runner. I never have been, so I do find it quite challenging, and I've been trying to get on top of that. It's only 4K, you're almost done, punch it out. The run into the finish line is like a little bit downhill, so it's quite nice, and then you've got everyone there, you got the music pumping, and that's 50Ks, done. So I'll leave it there for now, and like I said, get into more detail in some of my next videos. But yeah, I suppose for me, this is my 3rd time racing Kosci. I absolutely love going down to the race. Christian and I actually met doing ski seasons in Jindabyne. And yeah, it's kind of like a second home. We still have lots of family and friends that live there. So it's always a good time when we get to go back and hang out and just kind of breathe in that nice fresh mountain air too. I know that's so cliche, but it's just beautiful.